Annyeonghaseyo. Yarabun, Juanachimeyo. Yeah, well, that was my little attempt at some Korean there. Yeah, what's this guy doing? He's speaking Korean, wearing a Canadian flag on his shirt, right? What is this all about? Well, as you guys who watch my channel, you already know that I'm learning some Korean, and I'm excited to share that with you guys sometimes when there's a few words that I actually know. So, long story short, I just said good morning and hello and good morning everyone. Probably didn't pronounce it properly, but that's okay, right? I'm just learning. So besides that, what are we doing today? We're starting a new build. And saying that, I want to thank you guys for joining me. Thanks for coming out. This is a new build, a new series. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to this live stream if you're watching me live. And if you're not, well, welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome. We're going to hear some planes taking off in the background because, well, the wind is going in that direction. I'm going to close my window. Just bear with me a moment. So, with that being said, we are starting a new build. We are now doing as typical with my little schedule that I always do. And I do a normal build of some kind of model, whether it's a plane or a tank, and then I do a Gundam kit. And so we're starting the Gundam kit. This is one of the more famous ones. This is a Zaku. This one happens to be the MS-06J Zaku 2 by Bandai. This, of course, is the master grade. All my Gundams are always master grades. This particular one is a little bit special, and it's a 30th anniversary version of Gunpla. Gunpla, of course, is just a kind of an amalgamation between the word Gundam and plastic. And so they call it Gunpla. Anyway, that's what we're going to be starting on. Now, obviously, I've already opened the box. I've pulled out the instructions, and I have all the runners in the box here. So this particular build is going to be unique. If you guys have watched any of my other Gundam builds, you'll know that I don't do very much customization on them. I basically build them, I do some weathering, and that's about it, right? This is going to be a little bit different. This guy here, now the Zaku, that's basically what he's going to look like when he's all finished, right? That's what he's supposed to look like. And it looks nice and clean and whatever, and yeah. But you see that shade of green, the lighter green, that is a very obnoxious looking green. And I do not like it. And so I want to paint this guy a completely different color. I want him to be more military style. And so I'm going to be doing different shades of gray. Not quite 50 of them, but that's what I want to do with this guy. I want to make him look like something that came out of the military. Something that was built by the Army or the Marines or whatever, right? So I don't think green is a good idea unless it's going to be some kind of a green camouflage. Now I could do that. I could do green camouflage on him, but that green, this is just, it's too light and in your face. It needs to be toned down a lot. That's basically the two colors of this kit. We have our dark gray, so these are typically in the Gundam kits. These are going to be interior working parts. These always benefit with a bit of like a gunmetal color, and it makes it look a little bit more metallic and that kind of thing, like unpainted steel kind of thing. We have these are some leg pieces here, and again, it's that super bright green. I don't know if they call it Zaku green or if the darker color is Zaku green, but that's what Bandai calls it anyway. We don't have much in the way of color variation. it's either that light green or it's the dark gray. With the exception of this little piece of the backpack, as you can see, this is kind of a muted blue color. That's his backpack there. But you can see this is a bit of a darker green. This is more of a military green. This is almost like olive drab color. Very similar. And you can tell it's a different color green compared to those two there, right? That's more of a military color. This is not. No, of course this is my opinion, and so you might not agree with me fully on that. But that's what I want to do with this. I'm basically going to be painting this whole kit. So, and that's going to be my first time doing that with a Gundam kit. So, with that, I'm still going to be using my razor file because I love this tool for cleaning up the nubs. When you take those parts off the tree or the sprue, whatever you want to call it, when you take those parts off, this thing cleans those things up flawlessly. Well, not flawless, but like almost to the point where you can't see those things anymore. I recommend this thing highly if you build these kits at all, even if you do regular model kits, and you don't really do a lot of painting. This thing would help you out a lot, just tremendously. Now that being said, if you guys watch my channel at all and you saw my last build, and I built the 1/350 scale Tirpitz kit, I didn't use this thing at all, and I didn't really have to, because a lot of stuff was just, once you cleaned up that nub, it's gone and you don't ever see it. My client was very happy with that build, although he for some reason felt that $14 for my troubles was a good enough payment. That's neither here nor there, that's nothing. Anyway, so I'm going to get into this. What's kind of interesting is in the instructions here, they show you almost kind of the history of the evolution of the Zaku. It's hard to see on my bright light. You can see on this camera a little bit here, where you have the MS-06J, which becomes the JC, then the K, then the M, then the D. Well, anyway, all written in Japanese, so I would have to like take a picture and throw it into Google Translator to be able to read all this. But yeah, it's kind of neat. So there's all our trees, our sprues. There's not a heck of a lot to this. This is going to be a very simple build. There's not too much to it. There's our weapons that comes with it. We've got our heat hawk, it's typical. We got the Zaku machine gun, that's very common with all of them. We got a bazooka. This particular one, we have missile pods that go on each leg, so that's really cool. It gets some extra missiles on that. And of course, the very first thing we start with is the body unit. But, like I said, I don't know, this is going to be kind of a short video, just a little intro of what I'm going to be getting into next and what I'm doing. I don't know if I'm actually going to be getting into any building of this thing yet, because I'm going to be doing a lot of sanding, and I've got a lot of work to do on each piece because I'm going to paint it, and I want to sand it. I don't want to just put it together and spray paint it, because, well, the paint isn't going to necessarily stick that well, and I've got to prime it and all that stuff. So I've got a lot of work to do on it. I don't want to just spray paint it while it's all, just take this. I've done this in the past where I've just taken something like this and I just spray paint it. Yeah, I just spray primer over it and then paint, right? And although it looks okay, it's not a perfect job, and especially with these having to be fit together, these don't just get put together and glued. Of course, again, another thing with Bandai kits, almost no glue is required. And so everything fits together very precisely, and if you start putting a bunch of paint on parts, then that takes away from that perfect fit that Bandai does. So that's why I kind of need to partially assemble them and then paint them. that does a better job. It also gives me a chance to fill in panel lines or anything like that that I want to hide. In particular, like you see the shoulder on the Zaku, he's got this great big, let me turn it like this, he's got this great big, I don't know what you call it, great big shoulder with spikes on it. And a lot of times this thing is two pieces and you'll get a seam line going through, and it doesn't look all that great. Another thing I was kind of thinking is one of the techniques that they use for tank builds is making the armor look like it's cast steel. And cast steel, of course, is very rough looking. And I was thinking about doing that on his shoulder, just to make it look that much heavier, if, you know, like it's really more armored, you know. It's just a thought going through my mind. I might do that on his shoulder piece. Of course, in doing so, you kind of have to have it assembled a bit, because you have two pieces to go together. And once you if you have them together there aside, you can't assemble it. And there's a bit of a technique I've seen online, guys doing things so that you can do that and then assemble it after the two halves are together. That's something I might look into, I might not, I don't know yet. That's right, I'm very, all these ideas going through of what I could do, what I might not do, I don't know yet, right? So yeah, there's planning to do, and that's why I'm probably not actually going to assemble anything today yet. One thing I did want to show you guys, a little tool that I picked up, was a new set of nippers. These are Godhand nippers, and you might say, well, how come everyone uses blue ones and yours are red? Well, because these are not the extreme top of the line versions of the Godhand nippers that you see everyone using. And of course these are $5 nippers, and these yeah, I'm afraid to tell you guys how much these things cost. If you guys see these online, you'll know how much these cost, okay? But the quality is so much higher that it is worth it to buy these things. It is worth it, I have to say. I thought these were pretty good, you know, and they do the job. They do the job for the most part. But I'm going to show you guys something. Let me see. I'll take one of these runners. Okay. I'll take these. Now, I'm just going to cut this bar off here. Okay. Just because. Okay. So, we're going to do a little comparison here. I know there's lots of comparison videos online of which nippers are best and stuff like that, but I want to show you guys just because it's out of curiosity. Now, let me see if I can get a bit of a darker background for you guys to see. It's not so bright. Okay, so as you guys can see, if the camera will focus on this, if I can get this to focus here, see how it's done that, right? And it's made that into a little point. And that's just the way it is. That's the way this one nips. Now I can go like this and flatten that out, okay? And you'll see the tip, that's the edge that's left, okay? And you can see it's white, it's stressed the plastic, but it did make it, you know, it's flat, it's straight. Other than the fact that it made the plastic white and stressed it, it did a good cut. Now I take these guys and I do that same cut. Just do a little bit down here, like that. Now it's stressed it as well. Let's try again. Go a little bit slower. It's still stressing it. So is that really an improvement? Not really. It's not really an improvement, is it? So are these worth it when it comes to doing that? A little bit of a stress, See, what I've seen guys do, because this is flat on this side and it's sharp on this one, right? So what I've seen guys do is they kind of rest it there on the edge and they let the other side do the cut. This, oops, I put a little too much pressure and I still wound up stressing it. There's a bit of a technique that I've seen guys do so that it doesn't actually cut. And it's still doing it. If I change direction, nope, doesn't seem to matter what direction I cut. It's still getting half of that stress mark no matter what I do. If I cut back here a little bit deeper, almost entirely stress mark. The whole thing. You know, you see the line of the stress is actually changing. Depending on the direction I'm cutting. So, are these better? Let's use these again. Is it better? Are the Godhand nippers actually better than these? It's not doing any better of a cut. But you'll notice, listen to this really carefully. You listen to this. Snap, right? And you listen to this one. Nothing. Completely silent, right? Why? Because these are actually cutting the plastic. It's actually cutting into it like butter. These are not. This is just pinching it until it finally breaks off. Right? That's what this one's doing. So, which one's better? Which one's actually better? I can show you something here. Let's take a piece. Now, I'm going to use these guys and I'm going to take this guy off here. Okay? Using proper techniques that all the Gundam guys use. Okay? Do this. Okay? Now, we get down to the little bit here where we actually want to take this off of here. I'm going to do this. Don't want it flying anywhere. Okay? So that's about as close to the edge as I could get. Now let me change the camera again. I'm going to show you here. Okay, you can see where I've made that cut, and I cut that off there. You can see that little white mark. That's where, because the plastic was stressed. Now let's see if these guys do any better. Okay, can this be improved on? Do that little cut there. Look at that. So even though on the piece of sprue that I was making the cut, it was still putting that white mark, but when you actually remove a nub, it actually doesn't stress the plastic like that, like my old ones did. Now this I can clean up. I get my razor out, right? I can get my razor and I can file this down. Let me see here. I can do this, get this cleaned up. I can make it look a little bit better. I'm not going to be able to get it perfect, but I can make it better. With my balancer tool, I can sand it down a bit. And I can reduce the size of that a little bit. So now it's just a tiny little mark. And that's better, but it's still nowhere near as nice as this. There's no mark at all, right? A tiny, tiny little bit of sanding on that with my razor, and that mark will be non-existent. And that's the difference. That's what makes these worth it. Okay? That's the biggest difference. So even though I was cutting up all that sprues and not really getting much of a better cut, when it comes to actually removing the nubs, the Godhand nipper really is a huge improvement. And that alone makes life that much easier, because there's so much less cleanup that needs to be done. So now I have this one. I'll put this on here and I'll just do that. This. And because it's actually cutting the plastic, I didn't quite get it right perfectly flat, so I'll use my razor and get that cleaned up. And that nub is gone. And the mark is so... oh no, it's not. It's still there. Hold on, hold on. Hold on. There we go. Now it's gone. It's gone and can't even see it. Well, I can. But the mark is so insignificantly small, you're never going to have to worry about it. So that is the difference, and that is why I feel like these were worth the money. Now, I'm not sponsored by Godhand at all. I'm just telling you my opinion, what I discovered. I saw so many guys building Gundam kits, and I saw all these different reviews and comparisons of the Godhand nippers, and I felt I need an upgrade to my little $5 nippers that I have here that I got off of Amazon as part of a modeling kit. And well, the kit was actually like $15, but it came with like tweezers and files and things like that. So this was just part of the kit, and so I call these my $5 nippers. They do the job. It cuts the plastic. It doesn't do a clean job though. So I felt I needed an upgrade. And the lady at the store, the hobby store that I go to, she said I don't really need to spend the money on the top of the line Godhand ones. These are like second from the top, and the only difference really is the hardness of the steel they use. The top tier ones, the steel is a little bit harder, and that's the only difference. So this is a little bit of a softer steel, which the average Joe is not going to be able to understand. If you are interested, these are the PN 120. Okay, PN 120. That's what these ones are. Okay. Anyway, so I wanted to show you guys that. I'm going to be using these extensively through this build instead of these. Well, I'll use these to actually get this, to get it off of the sprue, and then use these to clean up those nubs. And in theory, it will make my life a little easier. But that's about it. So this particular build series is going to be a little bit different than my normal thing. Normally I show you guys how I'm taking everything off the sprues and I'm cleaning them all up, and then you get to see some assembly. What I'm going to do is I'm going to spend a lot of time taking it off the sprues and cleaning it up off camera, and then you guys will get to see some assembly and a lot of the more painting that I'm going to be doing, some masking, painting, things like that, right? So that's what I'm going to be showing you guys in this particular build series. It's going to be a little bit different than the norm, and I hope you guys like it. I hope you enjoy it. So I know this is going to be, this is just a short little video here for you guys to see, and kind of get a feel of what I'm going to be doing for the next, well, couple of weeks anyway. Yeah, so there's, like I said, there's not much to this. the body, the head, the arms. We've got some nice diagrams, typical Bandai instructions. We've got some nice color pictures in the middle of the book, and then it continues on. We do the lower parts and the legs, the waist, and then we get into the weapons. Weapons are pretty standard. There's not much special with them. And then on the very last page we got decals. This particular kit comes with 2 little sheets. These are the I don't know what you call them. Are they press-on? You basically take the decal, you put it over top of the thing, and then you just rub it down on there, and the deck, and it comes off the sheet onto there. And then you've got some stickers. Typical master grade, they don't necessarily have water slide decals. That's okay. For Zaku, there's not much with a Zaku. Of course, the Zaku is the run-of-the-mill, mass-produced Jeep that the military uses, right? It's nothing special. So yeah. So that's it. That's what this guy's going to look like when he's done, but he's going to be a different color. I'm not 100% decided whether I'm just going to go with a green camouflage or if I'm going to go with shades of gray. Even as I'm saying it, I'm not sure. I know I started off saying, hey, I'm going to do shades of gray and blah, 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 make it military. But then as it's coming out of my mouth, I'm thinking, maybe I'll just do green camo, right? I don't know. I have to think about it. I got things to consider about this particular guy as I do it. Obviously, I want to do some weathering. I want to make it look old and used, not abandoned, but definitely used and abused, right? Yeah. So anyway, I think I'm just going to leave that here for now and call it a day. As I said, it's just a short video to let you guys know what's going on. Yeah. So that's where I'm going to leave it now. Leave it here for now. If you guys like my videos, please hit the like button. That really helps me out. And if you want to see more of this stuff, hit the subscribe. And yeah, that helps out too. And you can always see still pictures of my stuff over on my Instagram and stuff like that if you want to check out those. Put links in the description box below, as usual. You guys know the drill, right? Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna leave it there for now, and thanks you guys for watching. Thanks for coming out, and yeah, we'll see if I can get some of this stuff started on, and maybe see you guys all tomorrow. All right, see you in the next one.